Hello and welcome to Digital Declutter, our online workshop. It's 10 o'clock Melbourne time. Wonder what time it is where you are, where you're joining us from. Would love to hear where you're joining us from and what you're looking to learn. If you're watching us live, feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question, or you can put some questions in the chat and I'll check that periodically. Excuse me. And but if you're watching on YouTube as well, you can ask us questions in the comments and they come through to me on my email and I will certainly get back to you. And there might be something that we missed or something that you didn't quite understand. Always feel free to ask the questions because I say things sometimes that make sense to me. Maybe it doesn't make sense to you. And particularly, we often have people joining us from all around the world. So my Aussie-isms may not make any sense to other people. So please ask if you would like me to clarify myself. Introduce yourself in the chat. What are you looking to learn today? And where are you joining us from? Where in the world? Let me flick on to the next one. As I said, the session is being recorded and looking forward to hearing what you're looking to learn today. What is it that you find challenging about organising your digital files? And do you really need to organise them? Maybe you are more organised than you think you are. Let's see how we go by the end of the session and what you think about that. And also have an offer at the end of the section to be able to continue your decluttering journey with us. So I will share that as well. So what to expect today? My business space and time is all about making conscious choices about how you use your space and your time. So it's not just about going about things because that's how you've always done it. You know, you always put your toothbrush over here, or you always made sure you left the home 20 minutes before your appointments. It's all about having a bit of an audit, making sure those processes are working for you and tweak them and if they're not quite right. So that's what our business space and time is doing for people all around the world. And looking at creating systems to improve our lives. How, if we want to, for example, get more organized with our digital files, or what is the system? What are the new habits? What's going to make it easier to help you reach that? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Today we are going to look at digital files, including photos, but very, very briefly, email and computer files. So again, it's just going to be a general overview of how to go about decluttering and organizing your files. And we're not really going to go into specifics because I don't know what computer you've got or what software you're using and those sorts of things. So let's just keep it a bit of an overview today. And if we want any further information, we can help you out with that after the session today. So here I am, Julie Cliff, declutter coach and professional organizer. I call myself a declutter coach when I'm running these sessions online. I'm teaching you the skills to be able to go and do the work yourselves. But I do, of course, work hands-on with people in their homes to help them declutter and organize their space and their time, hence the business name, Space and Time. Before starting the business in 2015, I was an executive assistant and administrator for 20 years. So getting people organized and helping them stay that way is something I loved doing in an office environment. And then found a group of professional organizers who I just met up for a meeting on Tuesday, just gone, and talking about we were actually talking about writing your story, sharing your story, to be able to tell people all about what you do as a professional organizer. So as I said, that's almost 10 years ago I met that group of people to find out that this is an actual thing. And I did meet somebody last night that said, "You do what?" I didn't really know there was such a thing as a professional organizer. And I do have a team here in Melbourne now and one person in Geelong, married, and a couple of teenagers. Let me have a quick look at the chat before I go too much further. Ooh, what's doing there? Thanks, Mary Lou. She's my awesome virtual assistant. It's 8 o'clock in the morning over there. She's always an early riser because we keep systems going pretty early here. Hi, Kay. Great to have you here. And she's joining us from Carnegie. That's not far from me here in Ashburton. Rebecca is calling in from Western Canada and at 6 p.m. Good on you. Thanks for dialing in. Awesome to see you all here. So to get us started, I want you to have a bit of a think about why you want to get yourself organized. I want you to be realistic with your digital files because there's probably quite a few of them, I would think. If your inbox or your digital whatevers, anything like a lot of my clients, you will have them everywhere. So why do you feel like you need to get organized? Are you finding it difficult to be able to find things, or is it frustrating? Are you running out of space? Why is it that you want to get organized? Or did somebody say you should? Don't like the word should. Never been a good one for following rules like that. No, I won't do that. I'll do what I want to do. But also the idea of, can your old files just sit in archive and we can deal with them quite easily without much effort, just by transferring them into another folder or going about, just let them sit there. How organized do you need to be? And what is the simplest and easiest way to get this project completed? Because we don't have all day to be just hanging out in our email and our digital files and our photos. Certainly could be an ongoing task, but you've probably got other things that you want to do as well. So let's see how quick and easy we can get this done, but with at the standard that you want, and for you to be able to find things easily. So as I said before, is your problem that you can't find anything? Or is it some other reason you're getting frustrated? Later in this workshop, I'll start to help you set up some new systems for your documents and images so that you can search and can find them. We'll talk about that a little bit later when we're looking at storage for our stuff. And one of my things I love to ask people is, can you easily recreate it rather than have to go trawling through your files? Can you easily redo it with ChatGPT? I'm doing that all the time now. Free online AI, and there's other ones apart from ChatGPT, and they can help. I would go ask it a question. I've already asked it a few things today, but it might be, give me 5 ways to get my teenager to pick up their stuff off the floor. I know this is a digital decluttering workshop today, but it would very easily spit something like that out. I mean, you might have read a great article about it and you've got it somewhere in your files, but literally ChatGPT would be able to do that for you in about 3 seconds. So have a think about whether you can find it again or whether you can just recreate it. And the idea of not deleting things, and unless you really need to, you could just archive it. So if you have 30,000 emails, does that matter? Can you just, as I said before, drag them into an archive folder so that you've still got them there? Can you just put them out of your, out of mind, out of sight sort of thing? Again, I'm just challenging you how organized you want to be. How do you want to use your time? We only have 168 hours each week. So how would you like to spend your time? Do you want to sit down for hours and hours and sort out your digital files? Completely up to you. And I was just saying before about having a good naming system for our items, which sort of means that we don't need to spend a lot of time putting things into folders. I'm just thinking about emails. I only have a space and time folder and a sort of like a personal or family folder for my emails. And once they've been actioned, I'll just drag that work-related email into the space and time filing folder in my Gmail. There's no subsections, there's no subfolders, there's no, this is what's happening with this client. They're all in one folder because I go straight up to the search bar and I look for things that way. I never go into folders, never, ever, ever. And sometimes when I'm working with clients, I did have one yesterday afternoon online looking at some folders. She always goes into folders to look for things. So it's really interesting. But I always search by keyword. So again, just trying to make this process as simple as we can. Maybe we don't need folders. Maybe you want them, and that's great. But I'm just trying to get you to have a good think about how we're going about doing things. We will tackle the backlog a little bit later in the session, but all the way through the time today, and then when you start on your digital decluttering journey, is keeping an idea on your why. Because when you get down in the weeds and you're trying to delete one email at a time, it can be tough. So keeping an eye on your why. So we are going to go through the 6 steps of the space and time organizing system to help us through this process of organizing our digital photos, emails, and files. So we're going to look at how we can stop more stuff from coming in. We're going to look at your commitment to being organized and finding some time to do so. We're going to sort the stuff. We're going to look at things you no longer need, which is the decluttering step, easy storage for your stuff, and also maintenance tools. So we're going to go through each of those in relation to our digital clutter. So step number 1 in the space and time organizing system is stop the stuff. Because we know that having too much stuff, too much digital clutter, too much clutter of any sort can be overwhelming. There's more to organize, there's more to manage. It can be overstimulating, like we just get, our head starts to spin around and around in circles because there's too much that we're looking at, and we get so frustrated because we can't find anything. So a good thing to do when we're looking at how can we stop more digital clutter is, where is it coming from? Why have we got so much of it? That can be mindful about incoming emails. It can be the number of photos we're taking. It might be the number of things that we are keeping. So just be mindful as we're going through today, and then after the session, where's it coming from? Is there one particular source that's really clogging up your systems with your photos, with your files, and with your emails? And because it is really difficult to make any progress if there's still more stuff flowing in. So this is the same with our physical clutter as well. So many times with my clients, I'll arrive and they say, oh, just be careful of those 6 bags of clothes that my sister dropped off for the kids last week. We're going to actually have to start with that today. We're not going to get to set up the desk for my teenager that's doing year 12. We have to stop and do that work. Because there's still more coming in the front door. Today we're talking about stopping more digital clutter, and we'll talk about some more ideas about that in a sec. So being mindful of what you can bring into your life and what you can let go. So how can we stop more digital clutter? And I would love your thoughts as well. Share with me in your chat how you have stopped more digital stuff in your life. My favorite one to do in relation to emails is unsubscribe, 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 unsubscribe. And from any newsletters that you're receiving and not reading, any specials that are being emailed from everybody, and any catalogs. I've only got about 4 emails subscriptions that come to me regularly. Holly Cardamone is the writing coach that I was just mentioning that came to our organisers meeting on Tuesday night. She's a great writer, obviously, as a writing coach. Sophie Cost is an interior designer here in Melbourne, and she has beautiful pictures I like to look at. Tim Ferriss has usually got some good tips, and so does Paul Miners in relation to sort of time management and those sorts of things. So they're my only regular subscriptions. Anything else, I just delete, because I deal with a lot, or actually, yeah, have a lot of NDIS customers through the National Disability Insurance Scheme. I was registered to do that sort of work at one stage. So on this big, I'm on a list of providers, which means I'm an email on that list, and people are always sending me stuff. I just delete it. I unsubscribe and say to them, you know, I never signed up for that in the first place. So unsubscribe, unsubscribe, unsubscribe. And then once you have unsubscribed, whoever it was you've just unsubscribed from, go in and do a search and delete the backlog as well. So like if it was Kmart and they've sent you 3 emails today and that is more than enough, go in, find them all, select them all, delete, gone. If we want to do shopping, we can go to the shops, or we can go to their website, or we can keep a great list of the sorts of things that we want to buy and then go to those specific sites. We don't need our email inboxes to be clogged up with other people's rubbish. So let's make it a little bit more of a productive space. So I'll get off my soapbox about that now. In relation to email management, we can also educate others on who can email us and what for. I got this idea from Tim Ferriss, who I mentioned before, and as listed down the bottom, the 4-hour work week. He told his employees that they could make decisions with these parameters, as long as it wasn't going to cost any more than this amount of money. And if you have any quick questions, give me a call or pop around to my desk and ask me. Please don't email me. So you can set the parameters as to how people email you. Sometimes I think people just find it easier. I'll just send this email and they can deal with it. But it's a great way to be able to educate others around you. This is probably more likely in an office environment, I think, but is still relevant to us just personally, or if we're running our own business as well. And you can also add an automated email reply to outline these new rules so that others know when they receive your email. Your automated message might say, I only check my email once a week. If you need me urgently, please give me a call, or otherwise I'll get back to you in a week, sort of thing. So you can certainly be the boss of your inbox. So, and there's that 4th dot point there says, empower those around you to make decisions within reason, as I said, for those special parameters. Oh, yes, I see. Audrey's just asked a question. If you delete all Kmart things, what about previous receipts that might be related to warranties? You might need to be a little bit more specific there, exactly. And you might look for receipts, or however Kmart send you their receipts. There'll be some common words in it. You might find them first, drag them into another folder, and then you could go about just deleting their Kmart catalogs or whatever. So yeah, good point. You might need to be a little bit selective in relation to the things that people are sending you. Good thinking. Thank you for the question. And how about ways to stop more digital clutter? How about the idea with photos? Don't take so many. I'm in jest a little bit, but more likely turn off bursts. You know how on your iPhone, I'm sure it's the same with other phones and other cameras. Every time you push the button, it takes 10 photos. If you're just taking some quick happy snaps around the place and it doesn't have to be photo quality, 1 photo is probably enough rather than a burst of 10. So have a bit of a think about the settings on your phone or your camera so that you're not just taking unnecessary photos. And have a go at curating your photos as you take them. My good friend Penny McCready, who is a photographer and does a lot of beautiful work with families here in Melbourne, taking family photos. She will have a look as she's going through, and at her little viewfinder at the back. And if she can see that that person's got their eyes closed, or, you know, it's a really bad one, she'll delete it on the spot. She probably not a lot of them that way, because it's better to have it on her big screen to do her editing properly. But we can be curating our photos as we go, maybe right then as we've taken them, or make some time in the evening. And I think this is a great thing to be doing, particularly if you're on a big, long European holiday, and having a look and a reminisce over the day, have a look at the photos you've taken for the day, rather than getting home and having 3,000 photos and having to trawl through them. Be able to curate them as you go along. And I do have a reminder on my list of things to do every afternoon. It says to look at photos, because I take photos with people's permission, before and after photos, in their homes when we're doing hands-on organising. So I do end up taking quite a lot, and just to be able to curate them each night is much easier to be able to do that than having heaps by the end of the year. So can you think of any other ways to reduce the amount of photos you keep? And I was talking to Audrey yesterday about actually she was mentioning to me that she likes to keep different ones from different angles for different reasons. And if you've made that decision, if you are keeping them with conscious thought, absolutely knock yourself out. Go ahead and do that. But if you are worried that you haven't got enough space for that, or if you're not thinking about it at all, maybe thinking about reducing the amount that you have. But as I said, if you've got a real reason for keeping multiples, yeah, go for it. So let's have a look. Yeah, Audrey says it's difficult to decide which photos to keep at the time on a small camera screen. Yeah, so I think that is right. As Penny does with her small viewfinder on her camera, she'll have a look. If it's a really bad one, she'll delete it. But sometimes it is easier, of course, to plug it into a larger screen so that you can see what you've got and can make better decisions. But if, as I said, if it's blurry, somebody's got their eyes closed, somebody walked in front of somebody else, you know, those real ugly ones that no one's ever going to want, I think you can probably make some decisions along the way. All right, how about ways to stop more digital clutter? Remember, we're looking at the first step here of the space and time organizing system, which is stop the stuff. How can we stop having so much digital clutter? So computer files. Is there a central location the information can be found? So is there somewhere else that you can find it? Perhaps you work for a university and they've got all the information that you need online and or in their archives. You don't need to be the person that keeps it. Or when you're trying to find something online, do you actually need to download the whole document, or can you just view it online? Of course, when we go download, it ends up on our computer in our downloads folder. That's what a PC does. Not sure about Apple. But being mindful about how we are collecting information, trying to reduce the amount of computer files that end up on our computer. Also reduce the number of interests you pursue at one time. Maybe thinking about your hobbies each semester. A couple of my clients would kick me in the shins about this. They hate the idea. But do you really need to be doing dressmaking, swimming, Spanish, music, and I'm just trying to think of the other one my particular client is doing at the moment. For me, it seems like a lot. And with all of those things come with emails, they come with files, they come with stuff. So if you really are trying to reduce the amount of digital clutter and clutter in general at your home, perhaps thinking about reducing the number of things you are pursuing at the one time. Again, knock yourself out if you want to do all those things at the one time, but just be mindful that stuff does mount up when you are doing a number of things at the one time. So there are a few ideas on how we can stop more photos, emails, and digital files coming into our life. What else did I miss? Has anyone else had some good luck in deleting things, or they deleted something they wish they hadn't, or did they delete it but then found it again somewhere else? Share some of your stories with me as how they have gone about stopping this stuff. Let me have a look next at step number 2, your commitment to being organized. And I did just spend 25 minutes on the first step because I think it's really important. A couple of these steps here are a little bit shorter, so we'll certainly be keeping to time today, but I really wanted to be conscious of talking about stopping more things from coming in so that we have more of a chance of tackling this digital beast. So let's look at step 2, your commitment to being organized. So I'm sorry to say there is no magic wand for getting organized. Being organized takes time, commitment, focus, and persistence. We can just tackle one thing at a time, keep putting one foot in front of the other, and make being organized with our digital file a part of our daily lives. And as happens with our physical clutter as well, files do accumulate over time and they can take a bit of time to address. So don't expect again to be waving a magic wand and this be done in a couple of minutes. You certainly can, and I have had a couple of clients, and I meant to ring Jackie this morning. She did delete all of her emails. And as far as I know, deliberately, as far as I know, she hasn't called me and said, "Oh my God, it was a disaster." As far as I know, it was a huge success. But as I say, this can take a little time to chip away at it. So when are you going to do it? Let's put some time in the diary to get started. You might do 10 minutes a day, you might do 2 hours each Wednesday, or you might sit down for a week and have a look at your digital files and just be really focused on this project. So that we can do this project of the things that have accumulated over time. And a great way to start doing that is to start by dealing what's coming in each day. So whether it's your photos, as we just said before about curating them as we're taking them, whether it's your emails, we start to action them, or delete them, unsubscribe as they're coming in. And the same with our files as well. I did have a good habit, don't do it so much these days in my business. I don't seem to have as many files, but I do remember working in an office, I would sort of go back and review the day before I headed off, have a look at the different files that were created, whether they're still relevant and those sorts of things, and be able to file them or delete them as I left the office for the day. And again, I said before, we're going to tackle the backlog in the next couple of steps. But your commitment to being organized, the second step is about making time to get these projects done. You might want your email box to be empty, but it's not going to happen unless you put some time into it. Let's have a look at the chat just before I move along. Kay says, too many recipes. Yes, saved from Facebook and other sources. How manage them, please, Julie? Well, good question, Kay. That is a good one. Recipes. I suppose the question is, how do you use them? Do you use them, or is it a nice hobby just to collect them? But if you are using them, do you read them digitally? And having them just saved on Facebook or on your computer, is that okay? Or do you need to make some time to go through, choose your favorite 10, 15, 20, and print them out and put them in a folder of some sort? Sort of depends on how you use them. I often at the start of the year go, when it's summer, the weather's nice, I go through the recipe books and find all these new recipes, and I have not cooked one of them this year. So, but if you did want to make some of those recipes again, put it in the diary. Maybe every Thursday afternoon, you might be having a look through Facebook. Oh yeah, that's a good recipe. I'm going to do that one. Make the time to be able to get it to use it. Yeah, so thanks, Kay. That's a good question. How to manage those recipes is like, are you going to use them? How do you use them? Is it digital? Do you need to print them out? Or can you delete them all, or just sort of curate them, get your favorite 10, 20, 30, whatever it might be. All right, let's keep going along on your commitment to being organized. So again, we're having a bit of a think about getting started here and reminding ourselves why we're doing all this. What are you trying to achieve by getting control of your email? You know, does it matter if you have a lot of unread emails? What would happen if you just deleted them? Would anybody know? Would they get missed? Would it matter? And what's the simplest way to process them and get the job done? Again, just reminding ourselves why we want to get organized. Doesn't matter if you've got 22,000 unread emails. You're the only one that can decide that. Here's some more ideas to get started. Anything that's older than 2 months old, whether it's photos, maybe not photos, probably not the best thing for photos, more like email or files. You could just sort of put them in an archive folder. They're still there. You can still search them, but it might be easier to be able to start managing the last couple of months worth of emails and files rather than the last 10, 15 years, however long you've had your computer or your email subscriber. So see if that might work for you. Perhaps by changing the way you think about the job, it's not such a big one or so important. Maybe you want to spend some more time going swimming, going gardening, getting out there and doing more fun things rather than sit and managing your emails. Again, that's something for you to organise and for you to decide. And which of these questions has helped you understand why you want to go get organised and how to get started? Would like to hear which questions you've been asking yourself. Let me have a look at the chat. Good on you, Kay. She said she'd like to curate them. I think that sounds like a good idea. How does archive work? Audrey says, do they get deleted over time? It depends on how you want to do that. You could just put it in a folder, Audrey, that says archive. There is probably a specific archive folder, but I'm just talking about more like moving it out of your inbox and just putting it in a folder out the road. You would just need to check out if you did want to use the actual archive folder and find out what the parameters are. I don't use it. I'm not too sure about that. Thank you for asking for clarification. It was more like putting them in a folder out the road, just so that you're clearing up your inbox. Thank you. Let's move along. Let's have a look. We're still talking about your commitment to being organised in relation to emails. So a very important thing to do when we're looking at all these detailed digital documents is to use a separate app or list for your to-do items, whether it's just a piece of paper. I usually just have mine written in a notebook. A lot of the time I don't even have a to-do list. I just do things that I want to do. So that's I'm very lucky to be able to run my life like that. But my point is, don't let your inbox rule your day, or you'll never get anything productive done. And don't let other people's agendas, the things that they have emailed you about, rule how you run your day as well. You know, you can literally spend all day sitting in your inbox, but that is replying probably to what somebody else is asking you to do, or someone wants you to do a survey, or would you like to be a part of this, and you're not getting your important projects done. Of course, we do need to manage our email. We've been talking about getting some time in the diary to do that every day, but just be mindful to be able to separate your actual list of your goals and your to-dos and your projects should be different to your inbox. Up to you how you want to do that. As I said, I keep it nice and easy, just have a piece of paper written with to-do items on it. But there are a lot of other apps or tasks, or you could use notes in your phone, or you could go really fancy and use Trello or some of these other sort of productivity tools. So, but keep it really nice and simple. We'd love to know when you are going to start and make time for it. Share with me in the chat, how are you going to make your commitment to being organised? We will have some time for questions at the end as well, so jot them down if you aren't putting them in the chat just now. All right, the next step, and this one's just a short one. It is a longer one. We're talking about our physical stuff. As you can see here, there's a blob of stuff on the left, which just happens to be the contents of my utensils drawer. There's just a big mess. But on the right, it's all sorted like items together. And who knew I have 7 vegetable peelers? I've actually got more than that at the moment. My husband likes them. He doesn't use them, but he buys them. So, but there they are. But as I say, on the left is a big jumble of stuff, and our digital things, our digital files, our digital photos are a bit like that jumble of stuff on the left, if they are not sorted. So when we're starting on this project, get our files more organized, we can just break it down into tiny chunks and do little parts of it at a time. So maybe you might want to have a look in your emails and have a look at a particular topic. Not sure why I chose WordPress when I put this together, but maybe there was something on WordPress I was looking at the time. That's the people that run my website. They don't run it, but that's the platform that my website is on. So I might want to have a look at all the things that WordPress have sent me lately, and then you can start to go through them. So again, we're taking this huge, sometimes feels like huge task, and breaking it down into a more manageable, smaller amount to work from. So as I said, let's have a look at the different topics we could search by, or have a look at who's sending you some emails. We talked about Kmart before, but just being a little bit careful about what Kmart's actually sent you. Tim Ferriss mentioned before about I enjoy his newsletter, so that is one that does come into my inbox. I could very easily delete all of them at once, which I do as I go anyway, but you know, there's no important documents that he's sending me, so that might be a good one to start. Or if you're looking at your digital documents, you could look at who's created it. So the person that made the file. So is it myself? Is it one of my team? Is it my assistant? So who's created it? And you could start to curate your documents, delete them, manage them by the person that created the document. Or you might go by date. I'm just going to have a look at all my emails just from March this year and start there and put in a date range and be able to start looking, just making it manageable. And you could even schedule this sort of small projects in your diary as well. So today I'm going to look at March, tomorrow I'm going to look at April, etc., and be able to just have these small chunks to be able to sort the larger project into smaller ones. So sorting photos is a completely different kettle of fish, and Audrey and I know an amazing photo organizer by the name of Chantal Imbach, and she is a photo whiz. So her sorting of photos would be very different to what I might do, or her section, perhaps if she presented a workshop like this, would be quite different. But I'm just sort of looking at an overview. How can we look at breaking the project down by sorting it into smaller pieces? So that was the idea of this step. And this is just going to help us get going and make us feel like we will get there, and we can just do little chunks at a time by sorting it out. So I'd be interested to know where you would start. Would you start with your emails or files or photos? and when you might get stuck into them. Let's look at step 4, things you no longer need. So this is the decluttering step. This is where we can start to make more decisions on to what to let go, and the idea of letting go of things you no longer need, helping you decide what you can keep and what you can let go. And a good thing to be able to do is to let go if you have multiple. Like I was saying before about my 7 vegetable peelers, or I think there's more than that, as I said, 10, 11, 12. If they didn't fit in my drawer, in my little space, that would be a great thing for me to be able to declutter. I could go through, see which ones work, which ones don't, which ones are good for potatoes, which ones are good for carrots, because they sort of use different, they have different depths, I find, when you use them. So letting go if you have multiple is a good one. So if you're looking at your digital files and you found you've ended up with multiple copies of a file, perhaps spend a little bit of time. You might need to do it when you've got a larger computer screen, sort of put the documents side by side, see if you can find the latest version, or even the date and time on the document should be able to tell you which is the latest version. And if you really are worried about deleting things, again, have a go of the archive type idea of just putting them in another folder out of the way so that you're not having to think about them. But letting go if you've got multiple. So it might be you've got 10 photos looking exactly the same. You've took them on the burst setting, like I said, on your photos. That could be a good way to start to be able to look at your digital photos. And the same as emails. We've spoken a bit about deleting emails as we're going. And we have also mentioned about doing a bulk delete of emails. Might be looking up receipts. It might be looking up who it's from. It might be looking at Woolworths, which is a big supermarket chain here. And then just selecting them all and hitting delete. Have a think about what would be the worst thing it would happen if you lost them. Could you find it again somewhere else? Could you go back to Woolworths and ask them? Has somebody else got a copy? Does your daughter have a copy of it? Does your husband have a copy? Sometimes delete doesn't mean it's gone forever. We can find other ways of retrieving these things. And also check the specifics on the app that you're using of what delete means. I think in my Gmail at the moment, delete goes to recycle and it stays there for 30 days or something. Again, I usually press delete and I don't care if I don't ever see it again, but just know what delete means on the apps that you're using, because it might mean it's completely gone once you hit that button. So have a think about, are you going to be game enough to do some bulk deleting? And then we can also create some boundaries when we're looking at letting go of items we no longer need. You know, do you have to delete them? Can you just keep them? I pay, I think it's 24 Australian dollars a year for 100 gig, which is quite a lot. I think with all of my work files, work videos, work photos, and my personal email, I've only used maybe a half of 100 gig. So it's quite generous for $24 Australian to just have that peace of mind that I don't have to delete anything. Again, I do delete things as I go, but some things I'll just drag it into the space and time folder and keep it there. Maybe I might look at it one day, but perhaps you don't need to delete it. It's good to just be able to hang on to it just in case. But you could also set some boundaries as to how long you keep files for or how many of them you keep. And then if you write these rules for yourself, you know, I'm only going to keep things for the last 12 months. I'm only going to keep 100 gig of files. And that would be your new boundaries you've created. And once you get close to those, you might go, oh, okay, well, I might need to do some tidying up. We've just come into a new year, which means I've got more than a year's worth. time to do a bit of tidying up. So create some of your own boundaries so that you can, that makes it easier to decide what to let go and what to keep. Yeah, so just trying to think what else I wanted to say about. There was something, but it's completely gone. All right, let's have a look at the 5th step, easy storage for your stuff. We've got 15 minutes, which is perfect. Easy storage for your stuff. This step, no matter whether we're talking about digital files, we're talking about your time management or just your stuff around the home, it's deliberately called easy. This is creating permanent homes for your files, and it needs to be easy to retrieve so you can find things easily. It needs to be easy to file. You don't want to have to go, it's in this folder with this subfolder and this subfolder, making it nice and easy. And maybe it even might be so easy that it's automatically filed somehow. If it's set up some rules on your email that automatically put it into a folder. Maybe it's your bank statement, something like that you don't really need to look at, but you want to keep them, that have an automatic rule to go straight into a particular folder. So this step is all about easy storage of your digital files. So how specific does your filing need to be? As I said earlier in the session, the search bar is your friend. Know how to search in your app or your email program. As I said before, I never go into folders looking for something. I'll always just go up to the search bar in Gmail and I'll look up the person, or I'll look up the agency that's referred the clients to us, or look up the client name. They're all in the space and time folder. They've filed and action documents, and just have a good tutorial for yourself so that you know how search works. And know also the specifics about your program. Does it search in trash or your deleted files? I don't think Gmail does. I'd have to double check now, now that I've said that out loud. I think I might need to go to the trash folder and do a separate search, but know your the documents apps that you're using to know exactly where it's searching, where you're looking for. Use keywords, email addresses, people's names, so that when something is stored, you can easily retrieve it. Audrey says, thank you, Audrey says, if I've moved things to folders in Gmail and I do a general search in Gmail, it won't search my folders. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so you need to go specifically into each folder. I think that might have been why I ended up just putting them all in a space and time folder, because then I've just got the one place to search. So that's interesting to understand the programs that we're using and know the specifics of where it's searching. Yeah, is it searching just in their inbox? Is it searching in all of them? Rebecca says Outlook does search the deleted items folder. Good on you, Rebecca, for knowing that. It is excellent to know. So yeah, know the specifics. Where is it searching? Because that can be really frustrating when you can't find the thing that you want. And sometimes if that's the case, might need to go looking somewhere else. So easy storage for your digital files on your computer. Might have them specifically on your physical computer, or it might be in the cloud somewhere, or have some external hard drives. And make sure you set up backup processes for all of your photos, emails, and files. That's a whole different kettle of fish. I mentioned at the start today, we're going to talk about an overview. You would need to talk to an IT expert on the best and most secure storage for you and the backup processes that are going to work for you, and the different devices you have, who the devices are talking to in your family, etc. So I hope that you have a good IT person to be able to help you with that. But really important to have the right storage in the right places and making sure it's secure for you. Easy storage, whether we want to set up folders or not, we've spoken about that a lot. Label things, so label your documents and folders, and even the subject line of your emails, label them as you would search them. So if you wanted to find a document about decluttering the bathroom, I would probably, title it Decluttering the Bathroom with it in 3 easy steps or something like that. So if I wanted to look for it, I'd probably look for the keywords of declutter bathroom, and it would come up nice and easily. Don't call it something that's not relevant to that, making sure you've got those keywords in it. So if you wanted to find it again, using those search bars, you could find it easily. And start to save your files and emails every day, so that it's an easier job to keep up daily. Just try and think about those names as well, and the documents that you, excuse me, how you name your documents. There's, of course, different archiving techniques. If you've got business documents, those sorts of things, that might start with the date, which is like the year, the month, and the day, which helps storing them by the date. And there's different archiving and naming for different parts of your life, of course. If it's a more formal, as I say, business that you're in. I had a client that was a lawyer, and she had to name documents in a certain way, as I said, with the date, with the client name, there was something else that came next, and it had these key things on it so that it was consistent. Everybody was saving their documents in that way, and it just makes it easier to be able to find things when you're looking for them. You could look up for all of those key words as well. And we've spoken already about whether you use folders or not. So let's look at maintenance tools. So this is the last step, how we can keep ourselves organized every day. And that's just by making time to do it each and every day, little bits at a time as we're doing it. It doesn't have to be a big deal. I think if we're doing little things now and setting up the processes, as I said, we can tackle the backlog in chunks in those special times that we've allocated in the day. But if we're doing that maintenance ongoing now, that's going to help. We'll have less backlog going forwards. When I'm helping people with their daily clutter at home, it might be like, well, let's clean up after dinner. Everybody in the family help do that every night. And then when you come out in the morning, the kitchen's nice and neat and tidy, unless somebody has come out and eaten 2 cans of tuna and a thing of noodles. I think Charlie had, our 14-year-old had a midnight snack last night. He's getting better at tidying up after himself, but I can always see what he's had as his snacks. But the idea of, if you're doing this regular maintenance, it can't, the backlog doesn't build up so much. And know yourself and choose the time of day that suits your energy level. I always give the example that I'm a morning person. I'm up at 5:35 every day to do all my stuff. So please don't ask me to do anything after about 8:30 at night. My brain turns off. I'm asleep by 9:30. So you choose when's going to be a good time to have a look at this. With a bit of luck, you might have even decided it's not worth spending too much time on. I'm just going to do the maintenance going forwards. I'm not going to worry about the backlog. But know yourself and know when your best energy is to suit this. And also be accountable. Share your decluttering and maintenance journey with a friend and update them as you go along. You say, okay, well, I'm going to have my email box down to 3,000 by the end of the week, something like that. You might let your friend know, and then you give them an update. So get somebody on board to help you be accountable so that we're working on these things each and every day. We've already said about scheduling time to be able to delete, automate, or delegate our bits and pieces that we're doing each day. I've already mentioned don't let your email dictate your day or with other people's agendas. Put a timer on, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, have a bit of a go. Some other maintenance tools you might like to think about is your responses to emails. You can cut down the time that you're in your inbox by writing nice, succinct, polite, short replies rather than writing a whole novel. And you could just easily do that. ChatGPT could help you if you wanted to use some AI to just help you polish it up a bit. But just to get back to people, replying to them, giving them the information they've asked for, but you're not having to spend all day on it. And that last dot point is unsubscribe as soon as you've downloaded that freebie. So someone might be offering their latest ebook. It's free, but you do need to subscribe to their newsletter. So you subscribe, they send you the freebie, and then as soon as you've done that, you can go in and unsubscribe. So you've already got what you wanted. They did get your email address, but then you can unsubscribe to that so that you're not on their constant email list. So these are some maintenance things we can do each and every day. More maintenance tools, turn off notifications. Don't have things popping up all the time saying that you've got a new email or somebody sent you something else new here, or having all these things bing at you all day. Set aside some time, 2 or 3 times a day. That might seem a lot, might not seem very much. And as I said, you be the boss of your email. When I was at Melbourne Storm Rugby League club professional sporting team here in Melbourne, our chief financial officer only checked her emails a couple of times a day. She set out those boundaries that we spoke about earlier. We were to call or schedule a meeting or go and see her. She was only a couple of meters from my desk, so I could go and pop into her. But don't send her emails and clog up her email box when it can be just a nice, quick reply. And she was very diligent and very good at that. She let other people know around her how they were to use her email box. All right, so today we had a look at an audit or a check-in for how we think about managing our files. As I said, it was just an overview today. All of those sections, all of those steps could be a whole workshop in itself. We were looking at how to make conscious choices about what we keep and what to let go. We sorted into like items so we could chunk it down into smaller sort of projects. We deleted unnecessary items, set up storage, and we had a look at those maintenance steps. We want to get organised to the right degree for you, the easiest way possible, because there's too many fun things to do out there. If you'd like to continue the decluttering journey after today, sign up to my Get and Stay Focused 6-week program. We could do 6 weekly 1-hour sessions, just you and me on Zoom. We can have a look at some of these options we were looking at today, and we can get some of this done just from the comfort of your own home via Zoom. Our next workshop in a fortnight is garage declutter. Again, we haven't run this one for a while, but the poor old garage gets neglected sometimes, doesn't it? It ends up a dumping ground for everything. So let's have a look with the 6 steps again, and we will go through and declutter the garage. And as a thank you for coming along today, we'd love to give you a 15-minute strategy call on Zoom. Send me an email and let's make a time to do that. And thank you, Mary Lou, for putting the links there in chat. So the Get Focus program information is there to grab, and also the clarity call if you want to book that in as well. So oh, it's just 11 o'clock. My gosh, I timed that well, but not well enough to be able to source questions. But if anyone does have any questions, yell out now, or you feel free to follow up with an email. Anyone got anything before we sign off? No, we covered a lot in that time. Thanks all for coming. As I said, if you've got any questions, please send me a message afterwards, and we can address anything I missed or you didn't understand or needed to clarify. But we finished right on time, so covered a lot there. But I hope it's been helpful to sort of help you decide what's important, what's not, what can you focus your time on, what's not worth the time, or yeah, it's definitely worth the time. I need to, get in there and get done. And yeah, thanks, Mary Lou. Good idea. Send us your aha moments. Send me an email, julie@spaceandtime.com.au, and let us know the best things. Thank you again. I've got to dash to a client. I hope you all have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks for the garage declutter. Take care.
Good.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much, everyone. Thanks,
Julie.
Julie.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.